Come on, I want to watch Die Hard. How many times do we have to watch Gremlins? How frightfully hilarious these little gremlin chaps are. What are you talking about? They're destroying this bar. They're ruining this town. It's only a human pub, darling. You see, this is precisely why you're going to get a lump of coal in your stocking this year. Hello, Hugo Mountbatten here. May I speak to Father Christmas? Oh, fantastic. Well, you see, I need to get off the naughty list. I'll pay anything, you know, absolutely anything. Do you accept black card? Hello? Hello? How rude. That's more like it. Hashtag pure class. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the last show of 2022, the state of the collection, of course. This is something I like to wrap up the year with. So this will be my last video for this year, but hopefully I'll see you in January. I'm gonna do it slightly differently, and actually, good segue into the wristwatch check. I'm wearing the Rangemaster, there it is. My God, after so much careful designing and so many prototypes, we got there in the end. And if you missed this video, have a look back, new video with Mark where we're discussing the Rangemaster 2. It will be happening, so stay tuned for that, hopefully next year. Although you never know how long these things take. And yeah, that makes a good point. I'm not going to include my own co-designs in this state of the collection, as we'll be here all day. So I'm not going to include any NTH, Hanhart, the Lauriers there you see, obviously the Rangemaster, Squale, and several Squale now. But I am very pleased to announce that there will be a lot more collaborations coming next year, also with some new brands in the year after that, so very busy indeed, so I'm very excited about that. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this year's state of the collection. So where shall we begin? Well, let's welcome back a favorite, the Rolex Explorer. This has just returned from servicing from Moya, big shout out to them. And of course I've put it on the Valor strap from Risk County Watch Club. The best combination in my opinion, especially if you know the background, the inspiration of this design, the colors, very, very poignant and meaningful, sentimental for me. So yeah, I've missed it. And of course, a very influential watch because it's inspired dozens of watches I've designed. Some you may have seen, like this one, and others you might not even know about. So a very influential watch for me indeed, and definitely a keeper. So we'll put that right there. What else is a keeper? Well, of course, we really are starting with the heavyweights. The mighty flighty, there it is. Seiko Flightmaster SNA 411. I was going to say perfection, but of course it has those annoying lugs. But it is a definite do-it-all, any situation, every complication you ever need in a watch. Tough as nails. I love the old flighty. And of course, rich in aviation heritage. I've done many videos about it, so have a look back. My favorite Casio, the Mission Impossible. Now, a lot of you are asking, what is this strap? This is actually from the Calculator watch. I forget the reference, but it just happens to work with the Mission Impossible really, really well. I love its perforated sections here. Very breathable, excellent for cardio. In fact, speaking of which, That's the last bit of cardio I did, 42 minutes, 54 seconds. I think that was a jog here in Philadelphia at some point. Guys, definitely buy and stockpile them, because that's what I'm doing at the moment, because they've been discontinued, and soon the price is going to be ridiculous, or not going to even be able to get them. The good old day date, there we go. I purchased this, well actually this was an upgrade from my single quick set. This is the double quick set, and I wanted the linen dial, just a little bit more restrained than the champagne dial I had before. Definitely a keeper, very special watch indeed. And I tend to wear that on more special occasions. Another quintessentially 80s watch, the Santos Galbi moon phase there. A late addition to my collection. This arrived late last year. I had been hunting for this particular model for I think almost half a year. I can't quite remember. I did do several videos and unboxing, and then a deep dive into the story of the Santos, which is the first iconic men's watch of all time. Over 100 years old. Really amazing history. This is just perfection for me. Ticks so many boxes. I love it. I absolutely love it. So this is definitely a keeper. Another old favorite, the Pepsi, and you'll notice actually it's on this is actually from my Tudor, as you see there. I might as well bring in the Tudor. These two are just such a formidable pair. I've always had a Submariner of some form in the collection. I've settled on this one, and I've swapped around the bracelets. This is a wonderful thing about these two. You can swap around the bracelets. And yeah, I'm having kind of a different experience with the Oyster. Typically, I put it on a Jubilee, as you know. That's my de facto traveling watch. And then, of course, just that vintage vibes. Look at that incredible crystal there. Typically wear this more in the summer because I'm trying to fade the bezel naturally. And the lume, I want it to patina even more, because this is the old tritium, whereas that says a newer luminova. Yeah, it's going to take a while, but I don't intend on selling it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that fading, and I just wear it to hell in the summertime. Oh, another big heavyweight. Here we go. The Accutron. This is, of course, a vintage restored version. Wonderful watch. I'm not sure what strap this is. I know it's from Holben's. It's a German lizard strap. I forget the brand, made in Germany. I'll find out, and I'll put a link in the description, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah, this is really symbolic of a whole renaissance for me of appreciation for Bulova, or however you want to say it, and to a wider extent Accutron, because this year I visited their museum. They are doing amazing stuff. The mill ships was they just knocked it out of the park, and they got such a rich heritage and legacy. I could see that when I visited their museum in the Empire State Building. So much achievements. I think they are the greatest American watch brand, now obviously part of Citizen, but just the amount of history is phenomenal, and to me this represents everything that is great. And of course I love the fact that it's got both brands on the dial. Now they're separated. The Accutron is going more in a luxury direction, kind of like Grand Seiko is the Seiko, innovating in terms of going back in their archives, which I do appreciate. So I'm very optimistic, and great to see such a historic, important, horological giant like Bulova coming back in such a strong way. So that's made me appreciate this watch so much more. Guys, do check out my Accutron videos. It is an absolutely amazing story, especially if you're more into horology, not just watches, but horology in a wider sense. Fascinating stuff. Anyway, what's next? My only Breitling. Typically I have 2 or 3 Breitling in the collection, so this is the remainder. I've owned this, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now. It's the Cosmonaut. Very different experience. If you're not familiar with 24-hour dials, it is very bewildering, but once you get to know and read the time and get a feel for it, it becomes quite addictive, and you appreciate time in a whole new way. So this hour hand rotates once every 24 hours, intended for Scott Carpenter on his request. I think the Navitimer is far more rich in its legacy and important as a chronograph than pretty much all the other chronographs, iconic chronographs that followed. I would choose a Navitimer over Speedy any day of the week, but that's just me. I used to be a Speedy fan, but then I guess fell down the Navitimer rabbit hole. It's wonderful, and I've got it back on the bracelet. I love how they do these bracelets, these slanted links. Very, very cool indeed. I don't think Breitling get enough credit. Not really sure where Breitling is going, because I guess it's a discussion for another time. I love this more mid-90s vintage reinterpretation of the classic Cosmonaut. Yeah, I guess that's why I've only got one Breitling. I am considering buying another Navitimer, but that happens every week, so don't take my word for it. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Talking of Navitimers, this is actually the buckle from my Navitimer, and this is the Rios strap on the Hemel. This was a gift from Marvin, a big friend of mine. He's an amazing watch designer, and he owns Hemel, which is this brand. They've done some big things recently. They teamed up with Maffei Tissot, which is a very historic old brand. I happened to visit their HQ a long time ago during one of my first trips to Switzerland. But yeah, this is a column wheel seagull in there. Probably the best value mechanical chronograph on the market. Certainly the best looking in its price range. And I've got it on the Rios. This I typically wear on my Cosmonaut there, but I think it just matches this style of watch so well. This is definitely from Holbeins, and I'll leave the link to that one as well. Without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely, positively the best German handmade aviation straps in the business. The kippers and knickers indeed. So moving on to Omega, my gold little late 1950s, just before the big trilogy in 57. That's why you have no hippocampus. I can't remember when the hippocampus was introduced. Was it in 58 or... Anyway, someone in the audience will know. I've done a video, I should know. This is my last CE Master, I think. I've owned so many, more than any other type of watch, from Brosnan to vintage to new to coaxial to chronographs to everything, GMT, anything you imagine from Seamaster, I've pretty much owned it. This is on that lovely rich burgundy Fluco Nizza strap, again from Holbein. A lot of these straps are from Holbein. It's pretty much the same people. I believe in being a returning customer. Someone provides a good service, good quality products like NDC or Riscani Watch Club. I like to support them, and I always end up going back for more. So I love the Nizza straps. I love suede. I love my suede chuckers. I was wearing this in the summer, remember, in New York. It's got that famous 500 caliber movement. Incredible golden age, quite literally in this case, of Omega when they were the best of the best. Of course, that 500 caliber, as you guys know, went on to be the movement powering the very first Seamaster divers in 57. So beautiful to look at too. Actually, speaking of which, I inquired to see if I could have a see-through case back made. Unfortunately, it's not possible with gold. It's just too complicated and too expensive, but I was thinking of doing it. I might engrave this. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Put the Gentry lion on it, perhaps. And I can definitely never ever sell it, right? Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Talking of amazing divers, oh, look at that. The Azzurro from Squale. Actually, this is two watches. Well, this is a rebuy. I can't remember how many times I've rebought the Azzurro. Of course, I have my own several limited editions now, but after reviewing these two again, because they came out with a Cosc version, I didn't go for the Cosc. I just wanted the one that made me fall in love with the brand, and that's just the classic Azzurro polished case. Again, I think this is Riscani Watch Club on, the waffle here, but then this is from Squale and with the matching hardware. This is the forged carbon. It's a little bit thicker. My only complaint, I wish it was as thin. Well, this is not thin, but as thin as this, I mean. But it's amazing what a different experience. It's the same exact kind of shapes and feel, but it's lighter, it's tougher. I actually wore this quite a bit for cardio during the summer. Very fun, masculine, bold watch, but a completely different experience from the classic Azzurro. It's funny how essentially the same case is so different experience. This is, you know, very militaristic, and I mean, they've done a bang up job. This is what they needed to do, I think. They take a classic, you know, which is still available, definitely the best Swiss diver under $100, that would be amazing, under $1,000 for a larger watch, incredibly comfortable. I would have never imagined so, but for a little bit more you can get this very modern contemporary incarnation, and just means the business. I mean, this looks like a Humvee, and this is, I guess, more like a Cadillac, you know. But amazing to think they're based on the same design. Anyway, I'm going to stop going on about my beloved Squale, but yeah, those two pretty much are going to stay, I think. Just having a lot of fun with those. Two recent additions, the Hamilton Field watches. This is the mil-spec version, and this is an absolute bargain. The Avirex style, very rare. Quite an interesting story. I did a video about both of these. This one I had Cerakoted. I got first, and then I didn't intend on buying another one. But then I saw this deal, and I've always wanted the Avirex style. Never thought I'd be able to find one because they're extremely rare, and then this one came along and I could not say no. Slightly different versions. This is the newer one, so as you see, it's got thicker numerals, and this is to mil spec, whereas this is civilian. I might be letting this one go because I didn't foresee buying two, but I'll see how it goes. I had to have a Hamilton. I think their field watches are perhaps their most iconic. An old favorite, the Databank. There we go, another Casio. Don't really wear this one. I've said before, I think I said last year, it's more of an objet d'art, just a piece of design. I love the look of it. It's more a toy, really, but I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I just mean love the 80s look of it. I mean, how can you not? I mean, the keypad looks like a Star Trek panel from the Enterprise, and I'm talking about the Picard decent Enterprise, not the disastrous modern incarnations afterwards. But anyway, what else we got? The old Audemars Piguet there. This was a gift from a very special friend. Incredibly rare, very historically important because, of course, it has super thin manual wind, in-house, all of that good stuff. But look at the back. We have a screw-in case back, extremely unusual for a dress watch, and this was one of the early Gentry designs before he did the Royal Oak, so this is priceless, pretty much. And again, I wear that probably on Christmas only. Just so special. But if I'm not wearing that, I'll wear this old thing. I spent 80 bucks on this. I did a video recently, the Dolce. I'm thinking about getting the Sal as well, because that's got a really great story. Super thin, 4mm quartz from the 80s. Oh, and in the video, I didn't know what this Japanese inscription on the back meant, but apparently somebody says it's for the 25th anniversary of working at Toshiba, which is quite incredible. So 1986 there, really cool. One of the best quartz movements they ever produced, and accuracy is something ridiculous, like 10 seconds a year or something. So for 80 bucks, who can complain? And look at that Art Deco case, just gorgeous, absolute pure class. So really getting into my square kind of dressy watches recently. Of course, we got the two G-Shocks there. This is the new one. I just did a video about that, so have a look. Really cool piece of kit. I'm not going to go into it. I just talked about these two recently, so have a look at that last video. The old bluesy there that I had restored wonderfully by Rolex. They did a bang-up job. Absolutely gorgeous. On the Jubilee, of course. Very fun, lively summer watch. Love the fluidity to the Jubilee bracelet. That's one of the main attractions for me, as well as the 80s nostalgia factor that I've discussed before. Also did a video about that recently, so have a look back. There is, of course, my old DW56. Probably going to retire now. I've had that for half a decade. Still decades and decades of wear left, but I wanted to upgrade to this one, so I'm just waiting for new batteries for that. The Ricoh Day Date. An amazing lost gem from a really interesting Japanese brand, entirely proprietary made, 36mm. Quite a sad story, and once they were held in such high regard, the second largest in-house manufacturer of watch movements, only second to Seiko at one stage. The rivalry just got so strong from Citizen and Orient and all the rest. They got pushed out, and these days they make camera equipment and photocopiers. So A lot of people don't really know the story of Ricoh, and I've done a video about it, really fascinating, so I was very lucky to find that new old stock. The WMT Omani dial, the Royal Crest, relatively inexpensive, kind of fun cosplay of watches, I guess. So if you want to look for a good homage, they do amazing homages of all kinds of of Rolex, of lots of fun stuff. The Giugiaro, of course, there we go, the blacked out Ripley. I haven't really worn this one too much, but I do appreciate it for its design legacy. Done many videos on it. I had no idea how involved Seiko were with him, and the whole connection with Ayrton Senna and Giugiaro and all this stuff. Very, very cool stuff indeed. And we have the good old swatch, the real version of the one that's on the wall in the war room. A whole bunch of Casio F91Ws. I mean, cheapest chips, how can you not? I have the jelly, which I got last year, and then of course the classic, absolute musts for the collection. Next, we have two watches that are possibly on the chopping block. Now you see, I'll explain why. I do have two Dan Henrys. I bought this one, was it last year or the year before? I can't remember now, but I love the 1962, which is this. I don't intend on selling that. That sold out quite a while ago. Just love this watch. Again, on a Nizza strap. So that's definitely staying. I'm thinking of actually selling these two and consolidating to the Porsche design watch, the Orfina from Top Gun, if I can find one, because it has the Lemania 5100 that's in the Fortis. So it's basically what inspired Dan Henry's 1972. So I'm a big fan of the Top Gun franchise. By the Orfina, I can kind of get this look, but with that movement in an even more prestigious watch than both of these. This is also sold out, so it'll probably be a pretty equal, I think, swap, but I'm considering it. It's just an idea. Of course, I do love the alarm in this. This is so useful. And then, obviously, the Fortis is very special because amazing bit of underrated, well, the most underrated watch brand in all time. It still is, unfortunately. I don't know why they don't get the respect they deserve. Anyway, I'm thinking about it. It's just an idea. Let's put that over there. Wow, look at that. Look at them all together. And this is not even including watches I've designed. So pretty cool stuff. Anyway, let's take it back to the studio. So there we have it. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that supported the channel. It means the world to me. It's just too many of you to list, so I'll say thank you to all of you. Please stick around because the next 2 years are going to be incredible. I've got some very exciting stuff planned. I'm not going to say too much, but some of the biggest things. I'm working on some really crazy stuff, so please do stay tuned. And speaking of which, don't forget to like this video if you want to support more free and independent content like this. Have a wonderful, happy holidays wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you next year in the next one. Onwards and upwards. Thank you for watching. Ciao.